Hello, my name is Taya Heidelberg, and I will be presenting a presentation about harmful algal blooms in Texas. So, what is a harmful algal bloom? It is when the algae grows out of control and causes harmful and toxic effects on wildlife and humans. So it can be either two ways, which it can be where algae takes up all of the oxygen, clogs the gills of fish, and smothers coral and aquatic vegetation, which is pretty much it makes the layer kind of like this on the top of the water and then causing it to then be smothering the wildlife and fish. And then it could also be where it is producing toxins into the water, causing the fish, animals, and people who drink the water or eat the fish to then get sick. And some signs are discoloration and odor, and it will contaminate the drinking water. So these are the types of harmful algae blooms. And this one is the first one we're going to talk about. It's red tide. It is when the water is discolored. It is a reddish shade, obviously. And this one produces toxins that kill fish and make shellfish toxic to consume and can affect the respiratory system if humans near it. So like I said before, it produces a toxin. This is one of them that produces a toxin, and then it makes the people, wildlife, whatever, that eat the fish that are living in this area then sick as well as the fish that are living in this area. So then golden algae is this one right here. And golden algae is found primarily in freshwater, and it kills fish with gills, which means it is one of the ones that smother the fish. It makes a layer and it smothers them. And this one is also found primarily in the cold times. So you won't see it as primarily, you'll see it primarily in winter, but not as much in the summer. And then this one is brown tide. It occurs in seawater and it is unique to the Gulf of Mexico. It obviously has a water discoloration that is brown, and 1 to 2 million algae cells make up this to make it the color brown. And then what I believe to be the most popular one is the blue-green algae, which is the cyanobacteria found in many different kinds of bodies of water. The green turns blue when the scum is dying. And I feel like this one is the one that most people see. I feel like this one is the one that is like mostly out there. And like this builds up on like fish tanks and stuff like that. So I feel like it's the one that people see a lot more than the other three. And then these are just some like effects. So Dinophysis ovum is pretty much it makes this acid and it causes shellfish poisoning. And the shellfish poisoning is then when we consume the shellfish that has been contaminated, it then makes us sick or the animal sick, and it causes very much diarrhea. That's what it's mostly about, is diarrhea, stomach pains, things like that. And then ciguatera, which is fish poisoning from cigutoxins, and they are pretty much when it's caused from like the food chain kind of thing. So it starts with the algae is eaten by these, and then they are eaten by then the next layer, and people will then consume them. Like a fish could be represented as a maybe cod or salmon, and then we also do eat mussels and lobsters, and this goes back to the first thing that we talked about on this slide, which is then shellfish poisoning. So then the effects in Texas for HAB, which is harmful algal blooms. And this year alone, many small cases have taken place. And I put 2 examples here. October 4th of this year in the Colorado River Basin, the Lake Colorado City was found to be classified as moderately toxic to fish. And then also in the Colorado River Basin in Beale Park, it was also found to be classified as moderately toxic to fish as well. And I believe both of these are for the golden algae. And these are just 2 examples of what has been taken place in this year. And then I put this as as to show where some rivers are in Texas that have algae blooms that occur and where it can occur, to see if you live by any of them or anything like that. And then also to show where the Colorado River is that we discussed in the last slide. So this would be the Colorado River right there. And just kind of showing you guys that. And then in 2019, forms of harmful algae blooms were found in water in Austin, and then again in the summer of 2021. And they caused several dogs, you can hear my dog, several dogs in 2019 to die, and in February of this year. And it's because they were swimming in it, drinking it, and it caused them to get very ill and die. And this is just showing how these can affect actual animals and people, and this happened in Texas. And Dr. Bellinger said that the algae bloom mats in Austin are also understudied despite becoming more common, which is a huge problem because they need to be studied more to then be fixed, so next time things like that will not happen. And this is a picture of the algae in the lake in Austin. And then prevention for this would be to pick up and dispose of your pet's waste. So the runoff for pet's waste or anything like that can then cause the algae to form. Limit use of fertilizers. Fertilizers is a big thing. It runs off into the sewage, into the storm drains, and it causes algae to form. And this limiting, but also not using fertilizer before you know it's going to rain, snow, anything like that, and never use fertilizer when it is iced. And then no dumping waste or trash in the storm drains, lakes, or rivers. So no putting trash, lawn clippings, any kind of thing like that. Your pet's waste that you just picked up, don't throw it in a storm drain or a lake or a river. Don't do that. Get rid of it in the proper way. And then make sure to get your sewage system checked regularly if you own a house or anything like that. And your sewage system should be checked about 3 to 5 years. And report any found algae blooms. So if you are by a river or a pond near you, a lake or anything, and you find them, report them. They might be harmful in some way. So just to get them tested. And then precautions for it. People and animals, including pets, livestock, and wildlife can get sick when they have in contact with water or food that contains certain types of algae or toxins. So this is what we have been talking about. So just do not swim or participate in any kind of water sports like water skiing, jet skis, or any kind of thing like that in infected areas. Do not drink water from rivers, ponds, lakes, no matter what. Just don't do that. Try to only drink filtered water and do not eat fish from contaminated areas. If you go to a contaminated area and you go fishing, do not eat any of the fish that you have caught. And ways to know if it's contaminated is that you can see dead fish. There might be scum like on the top of it. It can look like paint streaks, which is like the brown tide, the red tide kind of thing. And then there might be a bunch of dead animals near the shore, or it will be discolored and have a odor to it. So these are things to look out for. And then in Austin, these are ways that Austin is trying to better themselves and help themselves. So the picture I showed before was a area of the Ladybird Lake, and so they're treating certain areas of the Ladybird Lake to lower nutrients levels, which then will cause it to be less likely to produce algae in those areas. And then they're trying to implement new technology that has the fastest time between sampling and results, meaning that if they come back sampling with these places and stuff and it's showing that there is some very bad algae blooms, toxic, then they can get the results very fast and fix it as soon as possible and know them instead of waiting weeks. It'll be more like days. And then they do bi-weekly testing, and that's pretty much to also make sure that nothing changes, and it can change. Algae can form very fast, so it's important that they do these bi-weekly testing. And then making sure that Austin's drinking water has the lowest rates of cyanotoxins. So there's actually no limit on cyanotoxins for drinking water in the United States. You can have as many cyanotoxins, but they're trying to make sure that is the lowest possibly they can. And so that's that. And then Austin Water uses cerebral processes in their treatment plants, which are effective in removing cyanobacteria and cyanotoxins. The harmful cells containing the toxins can be physically removed. They can be removed through like filtration, chlorine, which is part of the plant's disinfection process, and then the powdered activated carbon that is used to remove the odor-causing compounds that also remove cyanotoxins. And then this is a picture of the treatment places that I talked about in the lake, and these are all the red dots are all the places. And then these are my references for it. Thank you.